Remember Fable? It used to be a huge RPG, and then all of a sudden it just disappeared. What the hell happened? Where did Fable go? In 2004, the first Fable came out. It was a hit. It did pretty damn well. Very popular game, people loved it. I never played it myself, but it was very well reviewed. And then that led on to Fable 2, which was an even bigger hit, and Fable 2 was even more successful. And that I did play, and that game was fantastic. It was really unique for the time, in that it gave you the ability to actually choose what you wanted to do in an RPG, be a good hero or a bad hero, that your appearance actually changes depending on the choices you make. Nowadays it's kind of common for an RPG to do that, but in the past that was actually pretty rare to have a role-playing game where you're actually able to play the role of a bad guy and actually have real effects on the world around you as a result of those choices. Right at the beginning of Fable 2, you can literally just decide to work for the Mafia and ruin some random guy's business and drive him out of work. Or you can choose to help him get rid of like a bug infestation. So right from the beginning you're able to do things that actually affect the world and actually get to watch this person get their business destroyed.
Great work, kid. You got a real talent there, you do.
There's also like an alcohol addicted homeless man who you can either help keep away from alcohol or just steal some booze for him and give it back for a gold coin, just watch his life go down the toilet. Like, it gave you real choices that affect the world around you, but other games did not give you. And so it's really unique, did really well, and that led on to Fable 3, which was the last good Fable game, in my opinion. A lot of people hated this game. It was a controversial one. It kind of did a rug pull on people. It made promises at the beginning, like you're going to be in this rebellion and take on this kingdom, and then when you get there and you take it on, you actually just become the king and kind of become the thing that you hate. And I guess they were trying to make a point with that, but I think a lot of people didn't really land. They didn't quite like that. But I thought the game was great. I really enjoyed it. But that was the last good Fable game. After that, things get weird. Despite the controversial third game, they'd really cemented themselves as one of the best studios for making RPGs. Now all they had to do was keep making excellent RPGs and their future would be bright. What could possibly go wrong? You had 3 solid games. They had really cemented themselves as a great maker of RPGs. They were one of the most popular RPG makers in the genre, and everybody was excited for what they would do next. Everybody was waiting for the next Fable game to see what they would do. And then, crickets. Tumbleweed. We heard nothing. From my perspective and the perspective of a lot of fans of the series, it felt like we had heard nothing since Fable 3. Years had gone by, and we were still waiting on the next Fable game. Until a trailer for Fable 4 comes out 2 years ago. And that was basically the last I heard of Fable since Fable 3. Little did I know, and little did a lot of other people know, that 4 whole games had been released during that period. There were already 7 Fable games out before we got the trailer for Fable 4. And yet somehow we had completely missed all of them. And the reason for that is because they are all absolutely appalling, apart from one which got cancelled before it was made. The first one is Fable Heroes, which is a hack and slash game with a horrifying art style. It barely looks like a Fable game. You couldn't be blamed for not realizing that it was one, except for the fact that it says Fable in the title. Other than that, it doesn't really bear any resemblance whatsoever to Fable. It was an arcade game on Xbox. I don't know much about it. I can't imagine it did well. I never heard of it. Let's just leave it at that, because just from looking at it, I don't want to know anything more about it anyway. Next, we have Fable The Journey. This was a Fable game for Kinect that came out in 2012. Never played it, but it didn't have a Kinect. I'm guessing that's the case for a lot of Fable fans. If you don't have a Kinect, you're not going to be able to play it. And people that did play it, it doesn't seem like they liked it, to be honest with you. So this one is kind of a huge miss. You've got a game that most of the fans can't even play unless they have a Kinect. And even the people that do play it don't think it's particularly good. And I think a lot of us didn't even hear about this game in the first place. So it's another miss from Lionhead Studios. Okay, so Fable had 2 massive failures after Fable 3, but now it was time for them to try and redeem themselves. Try and come out with a new game that would really win people over and really do well. Are they gonna make this a normal game now and not a Connect one so more people can play it? No, they're not gonna do that. It's still a Connect game. But this game at least looks pretty good. The trailer was promising and people were getting excited. And it was going to come out 2015. It's pretty good. But then it was coming out in 2016. Got pushed back. It's like, okay, 2016, we can do that. Then it came out and it got pushed back to 2017, and that's okay. Well, 2017, that's quite a long time. And then it got cancelled. Not coming out at all. And the game cost $75 million before they cancelled it. They put $75 million into a game that they cancelled. And it was such a catastrophic loss that the entire studio closed down. Lionhead Studio was killed by this game. Xbox Connect killed Lionhead Studios and therefore Fable. Could not have been a worse game, could not have been a worse investment. The game didn't even release. Killed the studio and the franchise. Lionhead Studio died, but they were still going to come out with games. As the Fable IP was now owned by Microsoft, I think, and so other studios are still able to make games. So 2 new studios come out to make the next Fable game, a game that's really going to bring everything back, that's going to redeem the series, that's going to get the fans on board again, get people excited. What do they come up with? Card game. A Fable card game. If there's one thing you don't want to do in order to win your fans back and get them excited again, it's make a game that seems like it was only made for the purposes of getting in as much money as possible. Which is how these games normally come across to me. When you have a studio that normally makes RPGs, these big, expansive RPGs, and then you just make a card game, it just seems like you're trying to make money. And the reviews speak for themselves, and you can't even buy the game on Steam anymore. That's how badly this did. So we have 3 great RPGs to start off the series. And then for some reason, 4 games, none of which are RPGs, all of which suck, cost millions and millions. Just one of these games cost 75. Overall, it probably cost over 100 million making all of these failures. And then the studio dies. Why? It seems like they tried everything they could think of except the thing that made them successful in the first place, which was making RPGs. A studio that became popular by making RPGs decides to give up on making regular RPGs. Completely mind-blowing. Don't understand it at all. But although the studio died, literally killed, and shut down, and although all of these games sucked, there is hope. Fable 4 is coming out. And it seems like this actually might get released. Because, well, the trailer was 2 years ago, and apparently they're already playtesting. Now that's a really good sign, because playtesting is something that they normally only do when the game is pretty much done. The game is pretty much ready. They're being really tight-lipped about it. They're not revealing much. They're not really showing any trailers. The one trailer they do release for Fable 4, very short and doesn't show anything at all. But if they've learned anything from their previous mistakes, which games companies don't have a great reputation for doing, learning from their mistakes, but if they have, if this is the exception, then Fable 4 could be pretty good. And most likely it'll be coming out 24 or 2025. So not too far away either, so we have something to look forward to. There is hope still for the Fable series. It might come back. All we can do is hope, I guess. It's either going to be good, or it's going to suck, and that really will be the final nail in the coffin for Fable if they mess this up. It's over. But, hey, let's stay optimistic, why not? Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, and if you want to see more, please feel free to subscribe.